The Cheating Death Podcast is a satirical program containing objective, transparent, and direct information about anything and everything under the sun. We are not political, nor are we religious. We are analytical and perhaps a bit prodigious. Dear listener, it is our goal, in fact our mission, to continue to provide you with the most direct, blunt, and transparent information. We value your time immensely, and as such, you have chosen wisely because you are listening to the Cheating Death Podcast. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, dear listeners, we provide insight on the Great Filter, what it is, why we have not reached it yet, and when we do, we are most assuredly screwed. We also provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, an all-new top 5 of strawberry beers we think you will love, and of course an all-new joke of the episode. So, dear listeners, you have taken so much time to work and to be industrious that you have earned reprieve and respite. So you know by now full well what to do. Put your feet up, grab that iced coffee, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. One moment is all that is required to change a life for better or worse. More often than not, we seek reprieve and respite from places that are not conducive to providing those types of solutions. We ask ourselves litanies of questions that do not necessarily have answers, yet we still posit them just the same. Giving yourself an opportunity to shine, to try, to live, to fight. It isn't just part of the human condition. It's also part of the evolutionary way of being. When you think about how other animals exist and how it seems like they don't plan, how they don't acknowledge the future, how they don't try to live for tomorrow, they just be. It is as simple as it becomes. Food, sleep, waste release, and moving on throughout life are the predominant fixtures of these particular entities and or creatures. We take into account how many studies we have done on animals throughout the course of the decades and centuries, and we are still with the same answers that we had 300 to 500 years ago. Animals just exist. They live for the moment, because they do not have the capacity to plan, to schedule, to go to work, to come home, to cook a dinner. No. Your pet cat knows only one speed, and that's chaos at 3 a.m. all the way through 5 a.m. sometimes jumping on your face and playing with you, sometimes barking at the lovely food bowl despite the fact you just filled it 10 minutes ago. These are the best elements about animals and about our pets, is that they have given us an opportunity to see life through a new angle, a new lens, and especially when it comes to our loved ones and the little fur babies that we call our friends and our family. They have it made. They are so pampered, which is another reason why, on a side note, I and the podcast strongly suggest that each and every single person, if you are capable of doing so, please do not buy a cat. Do not buy a dog from a breeder or from a selective special provider. Go to your local animal adoption rescue center. Find an animal that resonates with you, or 2 or 3 if you can, and then give it the life that it has deserved. Because there are way too many animals out there living lives that they shouldn't have to live. And this is one of the reasons why at the end of every single episode, we advise you to go to your local animal adoption rescue center to adopt a playful puppy or a cute kitten. Is because they will love you harder, they will love you more, and they will provide you with genuine, deep, caring love that can only be replicated by a soul in whom truly gets and understands you. Finding yourself in a position to where you are trying to understand yourself and you are trying to understand existence, animals do not do this. They provide you and themselves with a day-to-day existence. And in some ways, as we approach the ever so monolithic Great Filter, we could learn a thing or two from animals and just learn to live our lives. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, 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 meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tage und eine gute Nacht. Hier ist deine Reisende, deine Ausländer, deine Allesfresser, deine Künstler, deine Schauspieler, deine Fenster. Mein Herz kann nicht gebrochen und ich bin bereit. Für heute ist eine schöne Tage. The Great Filter. What is it? Have we gotten past it? And what does it mean when we are approaching it? Dear listeners, the Great Filter is a theory, a quantum theory posited by scientists, physicists, and professionals whose jobs are specifically to do scientific research upon mathematical anomalies, as well as trying in every way, shape, and form to increase and quantify the world of physics. The Great Filter, in and of itself, to be succinct, is the ideology that each and every single civilization, whether it be earthbound, whether they be on another planet, whether it be within an entirely different galaxy, a different universe, a completely different plane of existence altogether, that there is a great filter that they will either pass or they will be destroyed by. Now, when we take into account exactly what the Great Filter is in layman's terms, for lack of a better term, it is a wall, it is a entryway, it is a predicated situation to where a civilization is more than likely to collapse before reaching this level of existence. Now, when we factor in the Great Filter, and we talk about how that comes into play among civilizations, how it comes into play among animals, extinction level events, we also have to take a look at the Kardashev scale, which, if you are aware, is a scale which judges the capability of a species to be galactic or territorial or to be intergalactic. A Kardashev type 0 is essentially where we are. We do not have control over the entire country or over the entire planet's resources. We do not have control over every single element of Earth. In fact, the ocean will destroy all of us if it was given the opportunity, because it is indeed so apathetic. It is unlikely that we will go beyond a Kardashev type 0 civilization. Kardashev type 1 is when a civilization has controls over the resources of its entire planet. is capable of utilizing those resources to harness infinite energy and to be able to utilize it towards expansion. A Kardashev Type 2 civilization is a civilization that has taken hold as well as able to access all the resources of their particular star system. For example, this would mean that if we were a Kardashev Type 2 civilization and Earth was still our home planet, we would be able to harness the power of the sun directly and utilize it for energy. We will be able to utilize the planets within the solar system for their resources. Venus having crushing clouds? Nope, not a thing anymore. Jupiter's bright red spot being many Earths in one? Oh goodness, we're going to be crushed. Nope, we figured that out, and now we're at Kardashev Type 2 civilizations, and now we're just chilling over near Jupiter. The reality behind it is that a Kardashev Type 2 civilization has obviously never been directly witnessed or directly seen, but it is imperative to understand what it is. Now, a Kardashev Type 3 civilization is a hypothesized civilization of species that has control over an entire universe, is able to harvest it for its resources, is able to increase the volume of capability of what it is going to be utilized for, both in terms of transit, both in terms of weaponry, both in terms of resources overall, being able to harvest resources for things where we would utilize it specifically for fuel and further energy containment. Now, for many, if you are aware of what a Dyson sphere is, being able to build a megalithic structure that harnesses the energy from a giant star that is able to fuel the civilizations within said galaxy is so far away from where we are as it stands. But does that mean that we cannot get there? No, it does not. For in order to become a Kardashev Type 1 or a Kardashev Type 2 civilization, we must work together as a planet. We must work together as a civilization, as a species, which would mean that you would have to say goodbye to a lot of different things that make us different, which in a way is outstanding. It would mean that you have to say toodaloo to the differences between a chicken and a beef dinner, because quite frankly, every food will be utilized as just fuel to get through the day, as a resource for you to ensure that you and your crew are not going to die. Secondly, religion would need to be abolished, and individuals would need to agree unilaterally that science, progress, and exterior exploration of the galaxy is more mandatory than the religious figures that we posit on Earth. Moreover, political affiliation would have to die. The very notion of how politics purvey themselves throughout this existence would have to perish. These things clearly within the next couple of centuries are not going to transpire. So, that being said, even though we may reach the technological singularity in 20 to 30 years, we are still far from being the civilization that is going to be capable of traversing the realms and going into different stages of existence in life in different galaxies, a la No Man's Sky. One hell of a great game, you should absolutely pick it up. We look at ourselves as being this great species, as being this great civilization that has ruled the land for decades, centuries, millennia. But in actuality, when it comes to space, we are little bitches. Because when you take into account just how much an astronaut's life changes after being in space for 30, 60 days, there is a psychological and an emotional impact on that person that, quite frankly, cannot be replicated and cannot be duplicated. They have seen the entire world, all of their arguments, all of their suffering, all of their benefits, all of their struggles, all of their everything in one clear view. And when you see something like that, it changes you. It really ultimately changes the overall biology of who you are. Because then you're removed from all the distractions. You're removed from everything that had bothered you back in the day. And this is where the question of the Great Filter comes into place. The Great Filter in and of itself is neither malevolent nor benevolent. It is what it is. It is a point in time to where a civilization is tested as to whether or not it will collapse into extinction or whether it will pass and go forth and elevate itself into a brighter tomorrow. There are a lot of paradoxes that posit similar theories, like the Fermi paradox. Are we alone? It is statistically impossible for us to be alone given how vast and how expansive the universe is. But if a civilization 50 million light years away from us were to look onto our planet with a super high-powered telescope, they would see absolutely nothing but dinosaurs, ancient animals, ancient civilizations. Because how time works, they would not see current modern-day time because it would take time for that light, for that energy to reach the planet. And given the nature of what is put forth in Interstellar, time does not operate the way it does universally, as it does here on Earth. So when you take into account exactly what the Great Filter is, what the theory posits, what it suggests, we have not hit it yet. We haven't even come close. Because we are not even capable of handling socioeconomic disaster, climate change, global catastrophe, and furthermore events that would lead to more duress of the human population. We human beings are very, very interesting beings in the sense that we do not know everything we think we know. And yet we walk around and think that we are the best thing to hit the universe. And one day, when that filter is reached, we will find out exactly what the answer is, how the score will be determined, and in the end, it doesn't have any relevance to today's life outside of just doing your best, trying your hardest, being a good person, caring for those around you, and in every scenario possible, just being a good organism, a purveyor of light, a demonstrator of decency. Dear listener, you know full well what your intentions in this planet are. You try your best, you live your hardest, and you deserve reprieve. But the next time that you find yourself diving down a rabbit hole of quantum physics, quantum theory, watch a few videos on what the Great Filter is and see exactly how far we have left to go before we are truly considered a leviathan of legend of civilizations. But I am not telling you anything that you don't already know. And until next time, dear listeners, thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. At the top of today's episode, we promised you a list of the top 5 berry beer beverages that are strawberry-based. Because why? Berries are great, and especially when it comes to beer. It tastes rather exceptional. Coming in at number 5, we have Feruli, which is a delicious strawberry beer that has a very, very strong, very sweet strawberry taste and is a rather outstanding selection for your daily commute. Coming in at number 4, we have the Woodhouse Raspberry Pale Ale, an outstanding raspberry beer that gives you a chance to escape your fear. Coming in at number 3, we have the Strawberry Rhubarb Hibiscus from Collective Arts. Coming in at number 2, we have one of the most legendary strawberry types of beer out there, and that is the Strawberry Double IPA from Flying Monkeys. And coming in at number 1, like always, the best strawberry beer ever known to man. We are talking, of course, about the Strawberry Blonde, available exclusively at the Merchant Ale House on St. Paul Street in St. Catharines, Ontario. What are your top 5 favorite strawberry beers? Let us know in the comments below or email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. More often than not, when you go in for an oil change, you expect nothing more than just go in, have them change your oil, and then out and go in 15 minutes. However, more times you go, it seems your car just, it doesn't really like being there because it acts up in ways that when you take it to an actual mechanic, it just completely gets rid of the issue. It's almost as if there is an invisible hand changing your oil. Humanity over the centuries has become an absolutely bizarre phenomena that has not ever really reached its true potential. We look around at ourselves and how life is technologically these days, and we see for ourselves just how bizarre yet calculated communication has become. In that context, you have to look towards the sun and see exactly why things are the way they are, why your phones are listening to you at all hours of the day, why your television seems to know exactly what you want before you even finish the thought. Why is it that we put ourselves into such a condition that we have enabled monotony and tedium to be regular standard bearers of our existence? We have access to so much more information than we did in any previous generation, and yet we still find ourselves bored, complacent, and completely apathetic to a lot of the systems that make our lives what they are. Ask yourselves this: would your life be better if you were to go back to living a 1980s or a 1990s lifestyle? That answer is specific to you, and though it may provide some benefits, of course, we are entering a world where if you don't have internet, your life will not be as good as those around you. Now, there are obviously a few caveats to this. If you are a billionaire and you have the choice to not have the internet and it will literally do absolutely nothing to your life, then so be it. Have yourself some fun, enjoy living off the grid. But if you are a peasant, if you are a regular pedant, an individual in whom is trying to just go about their lives in the most regular form, look around you. The next time you are in a public area, look at your phone, and then look around you and see how many people are on their phones. See how many people are looking down, holding the phone close to their chests, and doing what they can to ensure that their level of communication is on par, if not above par, in most situations and circumstances. Now, there are a couple of questions that we must ask ourselves when it comes down to this particular line of thinking. And that is, what is the need? What is the tangible requirement that we have towards this cellular device epiphany that we all experience on a daily basis? Some would consider an endemic, a pandemic of phones, if you will. For 25 years ago, if you were lucky enough to have a cell phone, and take it from somebody who had a Fido Mitsubishi G310, these lovely telephones were nothing more than rudimentary communications devices that operated on a very, very, very old and a very archaic cellular phone system. When we take into account CDMA versus GSM versus EDGE versus LTE versus current 5G and now soon to come 6G, there are a lot of differences that are way far above and beyond what we are even remotely aware. For those who remember the Motorola Razr phones and how popular they were, those were an absolute time to be alive. You remember the first time that BlackBerry gained prominence in the late 90s and how well they did in the mid-2000s, only to fall by the wayside in the 2010s? We have all seen these types of situations and issues, but all of us is also very aware of the Nokia 6015i and the bar phones that Nokia made to be indestructible. As such, they realized, why are we making these phones if they last forever? Planned obsolescence in the cell phone market is an absolute abomination now. In fact, the phones that most of us have are up to date. Some of us are on contracts, some of us are not. Some of us spend $100 a month for basic cell phone service, and some of us spend $40 a month. It ultimately depends on the situation and the circumstances, but in that alone, you see for yourself just how valuable and vital information is. And when we reach the point to where not only are our consciousness and our minds infused together, but we understand that we are coming to what is known as the Great Filter. There are a lot of scientists in whom have already stated this, that we are not at it yet. And when we get there, we had better hold our britches. But truth and objectivity matter most in life. Money, renown, network connections, that means nothing. Who you are at the end of the day and when you leave this mortal coil is ultimately what is going to make or break your soul's experience in this universe. And what matters is that you do your best to take care of those around you and try your very hardest to live life as benevolently as you can. As earlier described in this episode, the Great Filter is indeed a very significant cross to bear and something that some of us aren't going to be alive to see. But take into account exactly what future generations are looking forward to or not looking forward to. Societal collapse, the climate change, the increase in the global temperature, rapid weather changes, significant destruction, cataclysmic events. Be grateful for every day. Find yourself to say thank you in another way. But, dear listeners, I am not telling you anything you don't already know. Thank you for tuning in today, and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Nachtem Lieben CRDVC, Cleric of Chaos, and where you can find all podcasts on all platforms. If you would like to support the program, you may do so. We have merchandise that you can buy, you can purchase a cameo, or you can buy us a coffee at the links in the episode's description. Please follow the Cleric of Chaos at all of his social media. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel before the end of the summer on the 30th of September. Although technically it is on the 20th of September, we're giving it an extra 10 days. Find yourself some exhilarating comedy sets, some great songs, outstanding podcasts, and more content that you can shake a stick at. Dear listeners, also be sure that if you are hungry, head on down to 10 College Street in downtown Toronto, Canada, any time between 11 a.m. and 2 a.m., 7 days a week. Lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., $9.99 fishbowl cocktails all day, every day, and try yourself the Pink Pearl, one of the best cocktails we have ever had. As well as if you are looking and trying to get yourself a delicious sandwich, a delicious shawarma, or a lovely pizza snack, grab yourself a lovely shawarma pizza combo at 768 Dundas Street West at Dundas Shawarma. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. They are more than happy to make your stay an absolutely great day. And dear listeners, if you have a beautiful soul, which we know you do, head on over to our credits section and follow all of our lovely comedian, actors, professional wrestlers, powerlifters, military consultants, and so on, and much, much more. But I want you to follow Instagram.com/backroomcomedyclub for the best Toronto comedy shows 5 nights a week, 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Go to Instagram.com/Alex Burke and follow Instagram comedy from the legendary Alex Burke himself. Follow Instagram.com/Darren Burke Comedy, Instagram.com/Damon.Charles, and Instagram.com/hot.mama.scholar, and many, many more listed within our episodes and in podcast descriptions. They have been given credits to the podcast because, let's be completely transparent, when you are trying to get bookings and when you are looking to do something within the arts, it always helps to have a little bit of an extra credit. So we always put a nice little section for them to make sure that if anybody asks if they have experience in the industry, they can absolutely be rest assured that they are dealing with professionals. And if you or anyone you know are experiencing psychiatric duress, emergency substance withdrawal, gambling abuse, domestic violence, please visit the toll-free telephone numbers listed in the episodes and in the podcast description as well. And if you or anyone you know is looking to buy a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center, for they are in dire need of your support. And remember to visit yummypets.com, that is yummypets.com/voice. Create an account, click the button every day so shelter animals have an opportunity to get free kibble at the end of every month. Dear listeners, you have worked very, very hard throughout your entire life, and you have seen just how difficult life can be. We always ask ourselves exactly what can we do to get to that next height, but sometimes you just need to take a little break and relax. And remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.